Welcome back. This is your math tutor Naresh. In this video, the part 2 video of Introduction to Algebra, Multiplication and Division, we're going to do some practice questions. So let's get started. So the question may say simplify. So we're doing multiplication and division. So the first question is positive 5 times positive 3. So when we multiply, positive times positive is positive, 5 times 3 is 15. So the answer is 15, and we're done. So next question, negative 7 times negative 6. So let's multiply the signs. Negative times negative is positive, 7 times 6 is 42, so no need to write the positive sign in front, and we're done. Next question, so positive 5 times negative 7. So positive times negative is negative. 5 times 7 is 35. So here we do need to write the negative because it's negative, right? Alright, so next example. Negative 13 times positive 3. So negative times positive is negative. 13 times 3 is 39. Let's do some fractions. So negative 1/2 times negative 1/3. So negative times negative is going to be positive. And when we multiply fractions, it's a straight multiplication. So multiply the numerators together. 1 times 1 is 1. And multiply the denominators together. 2 times 3 is 6, and we don't need to write the positive in front, so the answer is 1/6. Alright, so now let's do another fraction, but with bigger numbers. It makes no difference whether the numbers are big or small, it's just that with bigger numbers we have to be a little careful when we multiply. So negative 99 over 23 times positive 46 over 990. Now that looks scary, but we're multiplying. See, one bracket, another bracket, in between it means product, right? So let's just apply our concept. First figure out the sign. So negative times positive is negative. Now the numbers are big, so straight multiplication, 99 times 46, I'm going to get a huge number. 23 times 990, another huge number in the denominator. So can I simplify? Can I reduce before I actually multiply? Yes, I can. So I see that 23 is a factor of both 23 and 46. So I can reduce this. 23 goes into 23 once. 23 goes into 46 2 times. Alright? So that's a big help. Now what about the 99 and 990? Well, 99 is a multiple of both, right? So 99 will go into itself 1 times, and 99 will go into 990 10 times. Okay, so that helps, right? And now we can straight multiply. So 1 times 2 is 2, all over 1 times 10 is 10. So I could have reduced 2 and 10 further here, but it would be messy. I can do that in this in the next step. So now 2 over 10. So 2 goes into 2 itself one time, and then 2 goes into 10 5 times. So the answer is negative 1/5. All right. So fractions, yes, it looked scary, but the concept doesn't change. It's still the same concept, and we just have to be extra careful as we multiply, divide, and work through and do simplification of the numbers. All right. Okay, so now let's look at this number here. So negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times positive 1 times positive 1 times negative 11. Okay, so here I see a lot of 1s, right? But this is 11. So here what we're testing is whether you understand how the signage works, whether it's going to be positive or negative, right? So let's see. Negative times negative is positive, times negative is negative, times positive is still negative, negative times positive is still negative, negative times negative is positive. So it's going to be positive. So we'll double check. So if I have even number of negatives being multiplied, then yes, it's going to be positive. So I have 1 negative, 2 negatives, 3 negatives, and 4 negatives, right? So 4 negatives when I multiply even numbers, so that the product will be a positive. And all the other numbers are positive, so positive times positive times positive will always be positive. So now 1 times 1 times 1, 1, 1, so that's 11. 11 times 1 is 11. So the answer is simply 11. Alright, now let's do one with decimals. So when we work with decimals, so let's say we have positive 0.2, then we have times negative 0.3, and then we have times negative 1 times negative 0.1. Now that looks complicated, right? But it isn't, right? So the first step is figure out the sign. So positive times negative, right? So figure out the sign and then multiply. So the challenge here is how do we multiply these numbers that are in decimals, right? Well, one, you can use your calculator, right? So 0.2 times 0.3 times 1 times 0.1, right? So that's all you have to multiply. Or the other thing we can do is convert these decimals into fractions, right? So in this case, it's not so hard to turn them into fractions, and let's do fractions. So here we have positive, so 0.2, I'm going to write without the decimals, 2 over, so over 1, and then I need to figure out how many zeros I will have after the 1. So here I have 0.2, there's one digit, the 2, so one digit after the decimal, so that means it'll have just 1 0 after the 1 here. So 2 over 10 is 0.2. Next, we have negative, so 0.3, again write 3 without the decimals, over 1, and there's only one digit after the decimal, so it's going to be 10. So I put 1 0 after the 1. So 3 over 10 is 0.3. Next is a whole number, negative 1, and the next one, again, so that's 0.1, so write 1 without the decimals, and divide by 10, right? So there's only one digit after the decimal, so we only put 1 0 after the 1. So that's how it is in fractions. It was easy to convert to fractions because all we had to do was divide by 10, right? So if you see that you can, it's easier for you to change it to fractions, by all means do that. Or the other method is multiply the decimal numbers on your calculator and you'll get the right answer. So now let's work them out. I can reduce 2 over 10 here, but I'm not going to do that. I'll do that at the end. So let's just straight multiply. So okay, let's figure out the sign first. So I have 3 negatives, 1, 2, and 3. So negative times negative is going to be positive. So that positive times negative is going to be negative. And I have a positive in front, so negative times a positive is going to be negative. So 2, now straight multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 1 is 1. Actually, this 1 here, can I write that as a fraction? Yes, we can write any whole number as a fraction because we can divide numbers by 1. So can you write 9 as a fraction? 9 you think is a whole number. It's not a fraction, but it is a fraction because we can always divide by 1, right? So 9 can be written as a fraction. So if you are given the number 1, can you write 1 as a fraction? Yes, you can. 1 over 1. If you are given negative 1, can you write that as a fraction? Yes, you can. Negative 1 divided by 1. So I'm just going to write this over 1 so we are clear that when we multiply the numerators and then we multiply the denominators. Okay, erase this. So now 2 times 3 is 6, times 1 is 6, times 1 is still 6. And in the denominator, 10 times 10 is 100, times 1 is still 100, times 10 is 1000. All right, so now I can reduce this. So I know that 2 goes into 6 3 times. So 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 10 right here 5 times. The 2 zeros will get carried, so the answer is negative 3 over 500. So that's the final answer. Notice if I had reduced it here, then I wouldn't need to reduce down here. So here I would have gotten 2 goes into itself once, 2 goes into 10 5 times. And now let's multiply. So here we would get 1 times 3 is 3, then times 1 will still be 3, so that's what we have. Now 5 times 10 is 50, 50 times 10 is 500. Right? So either way we could have done this. Alright, so now let's do some practice with division. Okay, so if we have negative 6 divided by negative 8, so once we do that, so again negative divided by negative is going to be positive, and 6 over 8 we can reduce. So 2 goes into 6 3 times, and then 2 goes into 8 4 times, so it's 3 over 4. Right, so when you have negative over negative, you can actually cancel them. You can say these negatives cancel, and you don't have to think that negative divided by negative is going to be positive. You can, but that's a shortcut. Alright, so now let's look at negative 9 divided by negative 1. Again, the negatives will cancel. 9 over 1, 9 divided by 1 is 9. So now, what if we have 0 divided by 15? 0 divided by 15 is 0. So 0 divided by any number, the result is always 0. You can punch this on your calculator to verify, to prove to yourself that it is 0. Now, what about 15 divided by 0? The answer is infinity, or undefined. And we learned that in the lesson that we can't divide numbers by 0, not allowed, right? So we get undefined, and if you tried this on your calculator, you would get an error message. Alright, so now let's try, okay, so let's try, okay, so negative 4 over 5 divide by 8 over 25. So here I'm going to show you, so we're dividing, so what I'm going to show you here is, we didn't cover this in the lesson. So when we're dividing, we can actually change the division into multiplication. So it's actually easier to simplify this by multiplying. So negative 4 over 5, and I'm going to change this to multiplication. So here I'm exaggerating, that's why I put the multiplication sign. And when we divide by 8 over 25, it's 8 over 25, but when we change that division into multiplication, we have to reciprocate this fraction. Simply, it means we reverse it. So the numerator becomes denominator, and denominator becomes numerator. So division changes to multiplication, and we flip the fraction. So 25 over 8, and now we can see clearly, and we can work our way through. So we can reduce. 5 goes into itself once, that same 5 goes into 25 5 times. 4 goes into itself once, and the same 4 goes into 8 2 times. And now we can write the answer. So negative times positive is negative. 1 times 5 is 5. Denominator 1 times 2, so that's 2. So the answer is negative 5 over 2. So that's how we do division. Alright, so now let's have some fun with these questions. So I'm going to write a question on the board, and your job is to figure out whether it's a true statement or a false statement. So for the next couple of minutes we'll have fun. So true or false? So 9 times x equals 9x. So is this true or false? Okay, so we need to determine how we write 9 times x mathematically. So this would be 9 in brackets times x, right? Or, now remove the brackets, 9 times x is 9x. So we get 9x on the left side, and we have 9x on the right side, and to me, that looks like a true statement. So we'll say this is true. All right. Now, so that was example 1. So example 2, we can say the product of A, B, and C equals A, B, C. So how would you write the product of A, B, and C? That would mean A times B times C. And I don't really need to write the dots, so it's A, B, C. So left side equals right side, so that's also a true statement. Okay, so the third one, we can say triple 2x equals 6x. So is that a true statement? So how do we write this? Triple 2x. Triple means 3 times. So we go 3 times 2x. Now let's multiply this out. So 3 times 2 is 6, times x is x. So 6x. 6x on the left, 6x on the right. So that's a true statement. All right. So now let's look at number 4. So 2a times 4b is equal to 2 4abc. So let's see. Let's work this part out, the left side. So 2a, so that's 2a. Then it says times. So here's our times 4b. And now multiply this out. So 2 times 4 is 8. A times b is ab. So on the left we have 8ab. On the right we have 24abc. So they're not the same. So this is false. Okay. So now let's look at this example. 0 over 5 divided by 5 over 0. So is that a true statement or is that a false statement? Well, let's work out the left side and then let's work out the right side. So we say left side, 0 divided by 5 is 0. Right? So we learned that earlier, 0 divided by any number will always give you 0. And now let's work out the right side. 5 divided by 0. So, and we learned that we can't divide numbers by 0. Right? We get undefined or infinity. So left side is not the same as the right side. So this is a false statement. Okay, so we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more. So if we have negative on the outside, then we have negative 3 over negative 4x equals negative 3x over 4. Okay, so to determine if it's a true or a false statement, the right side is pretty much simplified. It's in its simplest form. It's the left side that we need to simplify and then compare to the right side. So let's see. When I work this out, my pen is drying. Now these negatives we know are going to cancel, right? So inside we have 3 over 4x, and then we have, so I'll just write one extra. So negative on the outside, 3 over 4x. And then negative times positive is negative. 1 times what's inside the bracket remains the same. So this is the left side, negative 3x. Okay, so I could write x as a fraction, which is x over 1, right? So just so that I'm clear where the x goes, x actually is multiplied with the numerator. So I have negative 3 times x, 3x on the top, then 4 times 1 is 4. So negative, the left side is negative 3x over 4. The right side is also negative 3x over 4. So this is a true statement. And I'm going to wrap up the lesson here. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please like or subscribe, and thank you for watching, and we will see each other in the next video. Once again, thank you for watching.